morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Happy Tuesday. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, having a big old cup of tea. So come on in and feel free to say hello if you are joining us live on our YouTube channel or on Facebook. And even if you are coming in on demand, you can still leave a comment and I'll come back and share in conversation with you. So this week, I decided this morning after my own morning practices to work today, at least today, but I think for the week, on the concept of binding, B-I-N-D-I-N-G or BADA. You'll hear that in some poses like BADA Kanasana, Supta BADA Kanasana. BADA meaning bound, binding together. So before you get too comfy, if you have a yoga strap, go ahead and get your strap and make sure it's nearby. If you don't, maybe not a blanket, a belt or a scarf or even a towel, a long towel, not a shorty, to help us as we start to explore different ways on the physical level about binding. So I'm going to introduce myself again. I am Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and welcome to our home yoga practice beginning this week. And home yoga practice has been evolving into ways to find your practice at home, outside and away from that group environment. How do we start to integrate the practice into our being, into our day-to-day life? And overall, that is the goal, samadhi, that full integration of yoga. Rather than it being an activity that we go out to or just a physical exercise. Not that community and sangha are not important. They are. They're wonderful because we get to share our practice and our mistakes together and what we learn together. But ultimately, we've got to do the thing. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of some asana poses, breath practices, pranayama, and today, this week, start exploring different ways of involving binding and why do it. So come on in, let's get started with a bit of some checking in. So sit in any way that you wish. I'm actually going to start my day sitting on a block. My hips and my back are a little tired, and sometimes, here I'll show sideways. Sometimes if we can sit on a raised surface, that can alleviate some pressure in the back as well as the hips. And I'm going to choose that for myself today. You could sit with your back up against a wall to give yourself a little bit more support. So you could start to sit right now and realize, I think I need a little added something. I'm distracted. I'm working too hard to hold my body upright. Eyes can be open or closed. Invite your mind and your awareness into your space. Into the actual physical space that you're in. Notice if your mind is trying to wander somewhere else, wondering what's coming next in class, something that you need to get to a little bit later, maybe something you don't want to forget. All of that is distracting the mind. So we'll bring ourselves back to the room, that's all. Maybe just be aware of the room. Look at items in the room. So we're already starting a binding practice, which is an element of focus, holding together, holding the mind to a space, to a time, to a thing. And observe what's fighting. Now allow your mind to come into your physical body. What are you noticing that's going on in your physical body? Points of pressure, aches or pains, dullness or excitability. And allow the awareness to come into the breath, genuinely wanting to hear what the breath wishes to express. Now let your mind observe your mind. What are the thoughts that are swirling around in your mind? What is your mind doing? And we use that bind or that staying power to watch, but don't interfere. Now we'll start to connect mind with breath, another form of binding, connecting. So let's try to bring the mind and feel the body holding the breath. Let the belly expand with the breath. And then exhale the breath out, relaxing the tummy. And let's see if we can repeat that. Say 6 more times. Following the inhale, allowing the belly to expand. Following the exhale, letting the belly naturally release. Feel the mind, body, and breath working together, interconnected to one another. And it's okay if it doesn't feel natural. If anything has a hiccup, we're just here to observe as we practice this connection. When you're done with your 6, I'm going to come off of my block. Let's come to sitting and lengthen the legs out. Point and flex, waking up our awareness in our legs and our feet. Maybe ankle rotations. What is the expression your body wishes? Starting to learn how to connect into what the body wants. Not arriving here to tell the body what to do. And then let's shake it out. Good. Let's breathe in. Exhale, just let the upper body come forward. Don't pull with the arms, just let the body come down and roll it up. Feel the body move the way it can and wishes to here. How fluid is your back, your legs? How stiff or rigid? Where is your mind while you're here? Where is your breath? Good. Without using the arms on the floor, let's twist the upper body. Breathe. And other side. Good. Without using the hands, we'll bring the feet together and just let the upper body come forward. Don't pull yourselves in. Just let the body flow and feel what's going on. Feel where the body is telling you there's limitation and freedom. Feel where your breath wants to move easily and not so easily. What about the mind? How is it responding to being hands-free, so to speak? And we'll bring ourselves up. Let's bring ourselves on over to hands and knees. So I'd like us to move without the binds first to find a free range of movement before we start yanking and tugging and pulling on the body. Just so that you know like what the intention is behind that. And I'm just going to shift left and right, feeling where I am. Doing that whole body diagnostic, neck rotations. Fluidity. Feeling the churn of water and air in the body. Changing direction. How integrated have we remained in mind and breath and body? Come the center. Good, I'm going to lengthen the left leg back and lift the right arm. They could be barely off the earth, so don't let height be the factor. Just feel the lifting and the support of the left arm and right leg. Breathe in. Breathe out. And bring that leg down and that hand down. When you're secure, we'll lift the other side. Feel the body's ability from its own insides to lengthen away from itself to create extension and expansion and strength. And bring that leg down. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Maybe pedal the heels up and down. Fluidity. Breathe in. Breathe out, left knee coming down, stepping the right foot up, stepping your left foot up, rolling the spine up. Without lifting the arms, breathe in and lift the chest up. Exhale, forward fold. Half flat back. Hands coming down, stepping to plank, whatever plank is yours, maybe hands and knees, lowering down to your belly. Breathe in, push down through the hands, lifting the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Exhale, we'll bring the right knee down. Step the left foot up. Step your right foot up. Half flat back. Forward fold. Inhale up. Try not to lift the arms. Lift through the chest, the ribs. Can we feel length and expansion from within? And forward fold. Let it go, let it go. Feel the trust in the legs. Half flat back. We'll bring the palms down, so stepping back to hands and knees or extended plank. Use an exhale to lower down to your bellies. Inhale, cobra. Hips stay down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in, press the heels down, lengthen the spine up. Exhale, left knee down. Step your right foot up, stepping the left foot up, rolling the spine up. Now let's lift, feeling the upper body pull and encourage the upper body off the bottom body. Forward fold, letting it go. Those knees could remain soft. Half flat back. Palms coming down, stepping back to whatever version is yours with ease and lower through. Breath in, cobra. Breath out, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. We'll bring the right knee down. Step the left foot up. Tuck the back toes. Straighten the back leg. Pull the chest forward. And now spin the right foot sideways. And we'll come up for warrior two. Sinking in the hips. Let the arms relax. Maybe lift them here, but that's up to you. And we're just going to open and close, feeling our hips. Feel the maximum of lowering without strain and straightening without locking that knee. And sinking. Where do we feel resistance? Side to side, leg to leg. Notice your back. Notice the front of the body. What is going on? What are your ankles, your toes, your calves and shins saying? Good, I'm going to straighten this leg, spin on the heel, spin on the other heel, and just reverse it and do warrior two on this side. Just lubricating. Maybe we're getting a little bit of heat growing in the body. Good. Check in. Are you stopping yourself before you've actually found the limitations of the lengthening and sinking? Now I'm going to find this space and ask those arms to just float here. All right, so our first binding space, I'm going to bring my hands behind my back. I can either wrap one hand around this wrist or interlace, or grab the strap. If we're going to grab the strap, I'm going to turn sideways here. I'm sorry, both my back to you. Try to get the hands as close together on the strap as they'll go. So let's say you stopped here, but you know you could creep it in a little bit more. Find your max without any distress in your tissues. And ask the shoulders to help by rolling the shoulders back, so shoulder blades together. Find the closest clasp you can with your strap, and then ask the arms to lengthen. Now ask the neck to lengthen upward. So binding is a coming together in one area, and that's hands closer to one another, and a pulling apart in another area, and that's across the front of the chest as the shoulders open up. The chest gets to spread open. So feel the relationship the two are having, and notice how much pressure you're putting into it. Feel the line of energy, the line of force between the hands. Can you follow that line, that taut line, all the way up through the front of the shoulders? Maybe you even feel it in the form of tension or non-moving in the neck or upper back. Breathe. And I'm going to straighten this leg, spin and spin. Now I relaxed my grip while I did that. And get ready for the other side. Now I'm going to let my strap go because I don't need it for this side. I'm finding a thread here, but remember I said you could find a wrist. If you tend to always find one wrist, Try to find the other. And that means we'll be asking the lengthened arm, like we're pulling it down with that wrist. All right, I'm going to sink in it. And grow tall through the spine. Feeling the connection between the hands, the wrists, and the shoulders. How they affect one another. Can this bind help us create or be aware of the potential for a freedom somewhere else? Maybe you haven't even really thought about the legs in a minute, and maybe I'm really pushing it. Breath in, breath out. Let's straighten, release those arms. I'm going to bend that leg again and bring the hands down to the floor. Spin onto the right toe. Step back to plank. Lower down. Breathe in, cobra. And breathe out, child's pose. So we're going to sink back into the heels. Lengthening that upper body. Feel the breath in the center of us, nestled in between the back and the thighs. Good. And I'm just going to come up to sitting back on the heels. Talk a little bit more about some of the mechanics of a bind. Never force your bind. The bind is still a part of our practice for us to feel integrated and connected within ourselves as a whole self. Not as something that is violent, aggressive, forceful. So feel even the nature of how you hold in your binds. Is it a chokehold? Is it a strangle? Can you find the greatest ease and still remain connected and be okay with observing what happens? Or do you start to feel insecure and you snatch or grab? Are you only able to execute a firm squeeze until like the blood circulation has stopped? We get to really observe the nature of how we hold and bring into ourselves, how we embrace. Then the opposite side. Where is the opposite, the equal and opposite side of the bind? What's opening? So while I am clenching on something, something else is getting to open elsewhere. And is it willing? Are we connected to it and able to identify? How does it feel? Is it tough? Is it tight? Does it need more time? Did not mean that alliteration. So yes, equal and opposite sides of the coin. Okay, and also move and warm up before we try to execute something that's going to pull us closer together or further apart. Let's feel where are the tissues right now before we start exerting an imposed force. So feel the free flow of your body and your breath and your mind before we impose a force on the body or the breath or the mind. Okay, I'm going to do another sun salutation. Just to keep warming up, I'm going to breathe in as I come forward to hands and knees, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, down dog. Getting in touch with that fluid space, because if there's anything that goes on in the binding is that it's a hold, right? It's a focal point hold. It doesn't flow. So connecting in with what's fluid helps prepare me for the stillness and the laser focus of energy that comes with a bind. Let's breathe in and lift the hips. Exhale. I'm going to travel my feet up. I'm not going to put the knee down this time. So if you liked that transition, use it. I'm going to step the other leg up. Now I'm bringing my legs closer together. Half flat back breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Let's breathe in and come up. Reaching. Exhale, forward fold. Good. Half flat back. Palms down, stepping to plank. Lowering down. Good. We're going to do the same directional bind with the arms behind us, but this time lying down, and feel the difference, all right? Our relationship to gravity is different, so the pressure on some joints is different. So we'll bring the hands together however you need. I'll use the strap as a demonstration. Bringing those hands as close together as I can on the strap. I'm going to keep my head resting just so that I can isolate the limbs that are going to move. I'm going to straighten the arms first without lifting the wrists off my butt. And so I feel the lengthening as I straighten those arms. They're sliding down my back. And I get to notice already the region up by my neck and shoulders pulling down, opening and lengthening. But the rest of me doesn't really need to be tight or engaged. So I love these subtle binds to just start to become aware of what's going on in the body. I'm also feeling my hands, making sure I'm not giving myself a cramp, not overdoing, not overstraining. I want blood to still circulate there. And then when you're ready, play with lifting those arms off the hips. Don't force. Accept the stop point. Don't fight the stop point. Breathe in. Breathe out. Can the breath freely circulate around the body, through the body? Breath in. Breath out. Still downward energy through the wrists. Upward energy in the hands going up to the ceiling. So arms straight. Shoulders down. Breathe. What's opening? Or are we only aware of tension? So I have to lift the arms a little bit more for me to feel the opening in the front of my chest around the collarbones. And release the arms. I'm going to let the grip go. Feel the circulation coming into the palms. Maybe wrist rotations. Restoring, revitalizing. Good. And let's breathe in and lift Cobra, keeping the hips down, growing tall through the top of the head. Feel the bones beneath the flesh giving you structure. Let the flesh give you fluidity, shape, and come back to hands and knees. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips downward facing dog. Tilting the tailbone up and down. How do the shoulders feel here now? After 2 times, kind of 3, in that backward bind, doing it standing as well as on our bellies. I'm going to bend the knees a little bit and see if I can walk the hands back to my feet. All right, so now I'm going to talk about a bind of the hands to the feet in this standing position. Okay, so now remember, the bind pulls us in together, help embrace or close in a space. So of course we can see that as the upper body coming in closer in to the bottom body, or top of the head toward the floor. All right, so you're going to feel the backs of the legs and the back. If all we're feeling is isolated in the backs of the legs, we probably need to bend the knees and start to try to bring our awareness to accessing, lengthening the back. Otherwise, we can overdo in the hamstrings. All right, so we're all going to be at different levels as far as how close we get down to the floor. I'm going to back this up a little bit. So let's start with a strap, even if you have a clasp on your feet, okay? So I'm just going to step my feet over the strap so that it's just in the middle of the arch. And now I'm going to, just like we did when we're holding the strap together with our hands behind our back, walk your hands down as close as they'll go so that you feel the tension point in the body. Okay, so I'm going to exaggerate that this is here for me.
Move some excess strap out of the way. Now I'm going to hold that strap and pull up. So use the back muscles. The knees can be soft. Soften the neck. Stamp the feet down on the strap like you're trying to pull the strap away from the feet. But don't just use your wrists. Don't just use your forearms. Feel this tension. What's starting to stretch? That's in the backs of my calves for me. But I also then get to feel a lot of muscle engagement in the core and up and down my back. Okay? So we're using the strap and the bind to create a space of core contraction as well as lengthening. All right, so we're going to do that again. And breathe in and lift. Now I'm going to pull on the strap with the arms, elbows going out to the side, pulling the top of my head toward the floor. Soften in between the shoulder blades, broaden between the shoulder blades, let the belly breathe. Now please hear those words. I didn't say forehead to your shins. So now we feel the tension, the contraction of the muscles in the arms to give a little force to pull the upper body downward. Something has to give, so we've got to give in the low back and the belly, in the space that's being smushed. Good, I'm going to let the strap go and roll the spine up. We never want to sacrifice our breathing. We never want the pull and the bind to create so much aggressive tension that there isn't any freedom or ease. Ease and steadiness. Stira sukha. All right? But hopefully as we're hearing the breath, we're getting the body and the mind and the breath to work together to create that lengthening, that cooperation. So we're going to do it again, and I'm going to show another one. So maybe some of us are going to stay on the strap. The next is going to be, now that's going to depend. I think that as you all can see, like my hands easily come to the floor. So with that, I can really now transfer my bind to another area of the body, because freely letting the body hang means gravity is doing its thing. And there's nothing more that gravity can do. Like, so I've completely given to gravity. That's how much my body will lengthen on its own, unassisted, yielding to gravity. So here is my unassist with gravity. But does that mean that there's no more length to be had or explored in my spinal column, up and down my back, in the backs of the legs, or a level of release in the tummy or the neck? I think not. I think I could probably maybe open myself to exploring feeling something else. So that means maybe grabbing the big toes with the index fingers and thumbs, okay? So we'll take those if you can. Now, if you're finding yourself struggling to get there, go back to the strap. And we're all going to do the same thing. So if you've got the strap, just go back to that same clasp. If you've got the toes, I've got about an inch of space between my feet and my inner thighs, just so you know. I'm going to squeeze the thighs, bend the knees, and now let's pull. Everybody pull. Chin is down, lengthening. What's stretching? And yet what has to remain contracted and tight, like muscles that have to hold together? Do you know? Can you explore? How much pressure are you putting in your feet? Can you play with that? Adjusting how much pressure in certain toes, areas of the soles of your feet. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, now we'll pull the crown of the head toward the floor. Untighten the belly. So we don't use the belly muscles to pull us in. The bind is bringing us together. An embrace. And it's opening us somewhere. Open in between the shoulder blades. Open in the vertebrae in your neck. Relax the muscles in the belly.
Good. I'm going to release the toes. Lightly bend the knees and roll the spine up. Now that was kind of getting us into a bit of an intense area, right? So you want to be relaxing and calming those muscles when you've been holding a bind for a few breaths. And I would say, try 3-4 breaths, calm, slow breaths, and slowly come out. Don't snap out, all right? You've been asking the flesh to find the limitations without them tearing apart. So we're going to that tension point. Let's be kind as it finds its resilience on the way back. Last one. And even if this last one is a space that you're familiar with, it's also really a good idea to graduate yourself. Start with the strap, do that once or twice in a sequence, then maybe the toes or Padangustasana, and then the next is going to be Parahastasana, where I'm going to slide. I'm going to slide the top of this hand under my feet, okay? And again, this may not be for you, so maybe stay with the strap or stay with the toes. All right, so I'm going to slide the palms underneath of my feet, toes coming toward the wrists. So now we're really shoring it up, right? We've got very little excess space. Softening the belly, I'm shifting forward into those wrists, into the front of the toes, letting the head go. All right, so now if you don't want to try this, or you gave this a shot and you're like, oh my goodness, come on back and grab the toes. We're here to be kind, to integrate with our bodies. Remember, we're seeing what's possible, where it wants to be. So if it wants to back it up, back it up. Find your space, your hold, your bind, and then let's breathe in and pull the chest away from the wrists. Pull, lift, slide the shoulders down your spine, make space, feel the force. Make space for breath. Can you ease up on the force, but continue to practice it? And then pull the top of the head toward the floor, elbows away from your ears. Breathe in and out, softening around the backs of those legs. What is going on? What level of intensity are you feeling? Are you feeling it, or are you avoiding it? Are you preventing it? Do you actually have muscles that are actively trying to prevent you from feeling or going deeper on something? Breath in. Breath out. Do you need that safety mechanism, or is that out of habit? Is that out of fear? Breathe in. Breathe out. One more if you can. Breath in. Breath out. I'm going to lift the toes, slide the hands out from under. Good. I'm just going to slowly come down to a squat, staying on the tippy toes for Pashasana. If you can, if I don't fall. Remember what I said about letting the muscles find their resilience, their slow motion snap back. Good. And then let's come on down. I'm going to sit kind of side saddle here. Okay? If you'd like to fold up some blankets and sit on that, go right ahead. All right, so we're going to do a version of mermaid. And the first thing we're going to do is just let the hands root onto the floor. So my legs are over to my left. I'm going to bring my hands over to the right. Now, my right hand is close to my right hip on the floor, not way back. If I took it way back, you'll see that I'm out of alignment, so I'm bringing myself upright. And then this left hand is finding this connection. So I am binding with a soft pressure point, right? This left hand here helping me direct. So I stiffen the arm and let the waist move, right? But I have to engage the muscles of this left arm. Now this right hand is a huge anchor. If I don't have this arm as a post pressing down,
Then look at how my spine just kind of collapses. So I'm giving it a little assistance and directing that energy up. Breath in, breath out, revolve. Breath in, breath out, revolve. So here in these twists, not in the folding together, in the twists, the bind gives us a tension point, a point to execute some torque, pressure or strength and required, directed and sustained, and then in the middle of the twist, the coiling part has to learn to let go. Now I'm going to gently release and switch over to the other side. Trying to turn in such a way that you all can see. So I've got this left hand here. If you feel like you really can't reach the floor, bring a block here and let that help encourage your spine to lift up. This right hand outside of this thigh, and I'm twisting to my left. This time I'm facing you though. Breath in, breath out, twist. Breath in, breath out, twist. Is one arm doing more work than the other? Are the muscles in the spine cooperating? Are your arms muscling your midsection? So is your midsection saying, hey, wait a minute, I can't twist that much? Let your breath cooperate. Feel what happens, how much space you gain when you empty yourselves out with breath. Empty yourselves of breath. And I'm going to gently release. Now I'm going to switch it on back to the other side. I'm going to come into this twist. And I'm hoping to show a little bit this way. So I'm going to have this left arm. Sorry. I did it wrong. I think I did it wrong. Yeah. All right, so I need to turn a little bit. So my right hand is down behind me. I've got my support, maybe a block, but I'm not using a block. Spine is upright. Legs are relaxing. Maybe you're feeling a twist along the side of the hip or the thigh. Maybe across the low back. I'm feeling a little bit crossing my low back. I'm going to take this free left hand and bring it around. And I don't know, can you see that my left fingers right here have grabbed my right arm. And now I'm twisting to the right. So what is that bind doing? So now we're combining the binding. Okay, so we've got a little bit of the open chest that we had by bringing both hands behind our back, but we only got one. Right, the left hand finding that right arm still being our post, being a part of that binded connection, helping us revolve. Are you still opening the chest? Opening the chest. How do both connections, the right hand and the left hand, help give sturdiness, shape, and structure in the asana? Now, if this hand can't find that right arm, you could use a strap, and you could wrap it around the right arm. And now my left hand, I'll show you this way. My left hand is getting closer on the strap as I twist. Lengthening the spine up, sinking in the hips. Right hand is an anchor helping us twist the belly. And then that left arm is helping us open up both shoulders. Or at least the left shoulder. Can you let breath in it? Or does it feel too tight, too limiting for the breath?
Back it off so that you make space for the breath, ease and steadiness. All right, I'm gonna let that strap go. And I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna keep my back to you. Maybe I'll be able to execute this in a way that everyone can see this side a little better. So now my left hand is my post, my support, my anchor. I'm going to take this right arm and see about finding this left arm with the right hand. Now this right arm's a little tight. I think some of you might have known last week I had a slight injury in the right shoulder, and so it's still a little limited. It doesn't hurt, it's just a little achy, just a little tighter, right? Because as it heals, the scarring makes it a little tighter. So I'm accepting where I am, and I'm gonna twist to the left. Never let holding the bind create a frustration point that we're sacrificing the rest of our ease. So in other words, let the bind go. Don't fight to keep it. If you're noticing fingers or losing their grip, don't struggle and fight to keep it. We're seeking freedom. But if it's okay to hold it, where are you noticing an area that's lifting and lengthening and getting spacious? What amount of freedom is the bind helping you feel, observe, and appreciate? How about in your mind? Feel the body. Feel the breath in the body working together. Notice your mind. All right, I'm going to release and gradually come out of that space. So we've done a lot of opening of the chest and a little bit of some twisting binds of coming to a cross-legged space or Sukhasana. I'm going to breathe in and lift the arms up. Just want to counter some of that movement. Exhale. Remember what I said about fluidity. And breathe in, letting those shoulder joints breathe. And breathe out, letting the rib cage and the spine find more freedom without being in the bind. Inhale. Good. Now I'm going to pat myself on the back with the right hand, finding that right elbow with the left hand. Now I'm working the shoulder, and it's finding a different angle because this left hand is encouraging the elbow behind my head, but upright. And my torso has to support itself. Breathe in. Now don't over pull with that left hand. Breathe out. Maybe if you let go a little bit, could you sit up erect with greater ease? Could you notice something about your pelvis, your waist, your hips that you didn't because you were struggling up above? Our strength doesn't have to mean struggle. And we don't have to struggle to feel our strength. Soften in between the shoulder blades. And now I'm just going to switch, bringing the left hand, finding that left elbow, this left shoulder. It's really interesting, even just from like a week of a slight injury, I can feel how much my left shoulder is tighter. I guess from overcompensating. Now part of me wants to really straighten that elbow even more, but I'm going to give it a break. Resisting my mental space that wants to clamp or tighten or tense. Because I can't find space in the tension. That's what the binds have helped me in my journey of my practice. Learning about the nature of tension and how there's no room inside of the tense muscle. And that growth and expansion happen with space. Oh, now I'm going to switch it and just bring that bear hug. Now the hands are a part of that grip of that bind. So I'm going to creep those hands behind me, seeing how much, what's the capacity of the hold, how close together could I bring my hands together behind me. So that means creeping them toward my midline. And then feeling what's opening, right? What's coming together and what's opening. The hands are coming closer together, but the in between the shoulder blades is opening, and I'm twisting. Just finding a little flow, working out that area from the shoulder work we just did. And I'm going to release. Okay, so I think by now you can really see that binding has a lot to do with the arms and the hands and the shoulders. So if you've already had enough, give yourself a break, okay? I'm going to involve a bit of a bind that also is going to be in the hips, but it is going to involve the shoulders. So I'm going to bend my right knee. I'm going to have a strap nearby. Good. I'm going to separate that right foot out to the right a bit. I'm going to take this right arm and I'm going to reach the chest, the whole upper body inside of the right inner thigh. Just coming back and forth. And feel the hips. Feel everything down close to the earth. Can you keep the sit bones anchored? Can the movement happen at the low waist, where the upper body meets the waist joints, the hip joints, sorry. Good. Now I'm going to reach forward and flip the palm. So I'm going to turn, this is my right arm, I'm going to rotate the palm to the right and the forearm to the right. Can I rotate the upper arm to the right as well? And I'm going to rest that arm inside of the right knee and bend the elbow. Now, many of us are just going to stay here. I'm going to push the back of that right hand into the top of the thigh and just use that flex to give me just a little bit of hold and lift the chest. Be kind to this shoulder. Remember what I said. We've been doing a lot in these shoulders already. Push the backs of the legs down, lifting the chest. Where's the room in this space? In the belly and the chest. And I'm going to release that. We might take that a little deeper tomorrow, depending on how everyone's bodies are feeling. And we're going to switch. Okay? When getting ready, this is an approach toward Marichyasana B, a different space than the one where we take the elbow outside. Here we're coming on the inside, so we are at least hopefully transferring some of our practice down into our hips today. So left foot is a little wide, right leg straight, using this right hand for support, spine is up, and I'm going to stay forward and just feel the hips and waist, using that right arm for support, breathing, respecting the stop point in my flesh and my bone. Now I'm going to come forward. Few breaths, feeling my left foot and my right leg supporting me and engaged and yet not forcing. I'm going to rotate that left palm, left forearm, left upper arm, and wrap that arm around, pressing the back of that left wrist into that upper thigh. It's about right here on that left thigh. And I'm just sitting up. Oh, that left shoulder's tight. Breath in, breath out. And oftentimes for me here, I just have to just sit and just tell my body, you don't have to keep fighting. You can let that go. You can untense. You can unclamp.
even in a joint that's aching, usually in the joints that are aching, getting them to learn to unbind. Or different areas of the joints, different areas of the limbs can take over the contraction so that other areas of the joints can let go. What's opening? What's engaging? And slowly release. Good. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees open. So as I said, we're coming in down into these hips now. So we felt a nice neutral space in those hips, and now our hips are a little wider. Now, your bind can be so simple as to hold your shins or ankles, okay? Because that might be where most of us can get a grip. Get a grip. Or, some of us can interlace. That's a bind. We're interlacing here and bringing them under the feet. So under the toes area, like so. Now I'm going to press these down. Yep, there's a little bit of knuckle smash going on there. And pulling the chest up. So I maintain the clasp. The tension point is through the arms, from the knuckles, through the wrists, through the forearms. Oh, definitely over the tops of the shoulders and in the shoulder joint. Growing tall now intentionally through the top of my head. You see, I'm lifting the top of my head. Wide open throat, belly breathing, soften the shoulders. Let the upward lift through the head stretch the arms. Maybe even press down through the feet, and the arms are just holding on. They're the junction point. Neck rotations. Where is the bind? Creating open expansion and space. Where is it inviting it at least? Because maybe all we're feeling is the tension. Do we have a tendency to want to lean in and do more tension? Is that what we feel is necessary? Is it a hard pattern to break? What are we observing about our nature when we're confronted with this kind of force and pressure? Change direction. Notice it first. Get to know it first. Learn about it first before you try to change it. Our yoga sessions help us integrate and come into knowing what is going on. Do we tighten when we're trying to loosen? Do we just say, oh, well, I just don't know how to do that? Or we go, oh, I've always done it that way. That's just my way. Or can we look at it with a curiosity, looking at our own patterns and go, should I be able to tell that muscle to soften? The yogi I'm spending time with says, I can. I don't know. I've never done that before. And can you just keep applying yourself to try? To notice, try, and notice. Calm the center, breath in. Now we're going to use that bind to pull, just like we did in the standing poses. Pull the chest forward, not straight down. Try not to take your chest to your feet. Try to ask the energy to go that way. That's the trajectory that we're aiming for our chest. And breathe. Pull your own upper body away from your hips. Soften the waist to find space. Soften the shoulders to find space. Let your own head pull away as the arms help pull the chest downward. Belly breathe. Don't let your pulling be so forceful. Find the soft space. Where's the equilibrium? Where's the harmony point? Where's the point that you could just stay and hold and breathe? And then I'll bring ourselves up.
Good. I think I'm going to call that bind enough for today. I'm going to walk the feet out to the front of the mat,
Lying the body down on its back. I'm going to reach the arms up. Spread the fingers wide, stretch the palms apart. Ready? Now make a fist. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Squeeze around it. Feel the gripping, the coming together, the contracting nature of the bind in our own palms. Go ahead and bend the wrists down. Feel it, feel it, feel it. And then release and soften. We're going to do that in the feet. So bunch the toes. Good. Can you make a fist out of your foot? Try to contract your own arches. Breathe. Feel it. Stay with it. Bind in your own feet. Its own kind of foot binding. Breathe. And release. Good. Eyes lightly open. Jaw relaxed. Adjust your shoulders, your head, your whole body for comfort. And let go. Let go of any form of physical effort. Simply be right here. Notice your mind. Now let's breathe in and gently hold the breath at the top if you're comfortable doing so. If, holding your breath creates a trigger of a trauma for you, please don't do it. Just breathe naturally. If you're holding, hold. What is going on in the hold? Is there truly nothing going on? Or has it amplified all that is going on in your circulation, breath, body, mind? And exhale it out. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale a little. Hold. Inhale a little more. Hold. Inhale all the way. Hold. Exhale a little. Hold. Exhale a little. Hold. Exhale all the way. And natural breath. What do we notice about the breath after practicing the hold? Does it feel more free, more cleansing, clearing, cool? Drawing something in can also teach us about letting go. Moksha, freedom. Let's gradually encourage the body to find some fluid movement. We'll come on up to a seated space. Let's take a moment and check back in physically. Really feel your feet. Really feel the knees and the flesh in your legs. Really feel the flesh around your hips, holding the groin together. Really feel your chest and your back, your belly, armpits, upper arms, the weight of your forearms and your wrists. Really notice your breath. Notice it going in and out of your body. What is it touching along the way? Observe its journey. Where does it pause? Where does it linger? Where does it massage and grace over? And then observe the mind. Let go of the tight grip that we have on the mind. And watch it find its way to focusing on ease. And allow your mind to hold one simple, single thing. Maybe a single grain of rice. And notice the freedom that comes from holding the mind bound to one simple thing. Hands to the heart center. Mana eva manushanayam karanam bandha mokshayoho. If you feel bound, you are bound. And if you feel free, you're already free. Namaste. Thank you all so very much for joining for Home Yoga Practice Live. If you've joined us live, I hope that it served you. If you're just dropping in on demand, I hope that different sections of this provide some insight and say, okay, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do this way. For a little bit of practice at home, your practice on your own can be 10 minutes a day, letting your focus, your bind be, I'm going to commit and stay bound to that thing for, 3 days, 5 days, a month, whatever it is. Don't struggle with what you're binding to. You can always loosen your grip and notice how your practice helps you find some ease, some strength, and some steadiness all integrated together. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and this has been Home Yoga Practice Live. Please feel free to share our videos if you find any value, and if it's in your heart or your pocket, donations are gratefully accepted at paypal.me/justbeyoga or go to justbeyoga.com. Peace. Namaste.